There was once a man sent to this world who preached the truth for 950 years, stood firmly, never gave up, built a massive ship on dry land, and watched the world drown while he floated above the waves. This is not mythology. This is history. This is the story of Prophet Noah, known as Nu, a man whose life echoes through the holy books of billions. And today we dive deep into his legendary journey, across faiths, across centuries, and uncover the lessons that still thunder like a storm in our hearts. Long before the flood, the world was already drowning in corruption, pride, and idol worship. People carved their own gods out of wood and stone. They ignored the Creator. They worshipped everything but the truth. In the middle of that chaos stood one man, Noah, a man of integrity and a voice of clarity in a world full of noise. He was sent by God to guide a corrupt, rebellious people. He reminded them of the signs of creation, the heavens, earth, stars, and rain, as evidence of God's existence and mercy. Noah's messages to his people was simple: worship God alone. You have no other God but Him. He wasn't just a preacher. He was a messenger, a warner, a man on a mission. Islam says he preached this message for 950 years. In the Bible, he's described as a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. In Judaism, he is called a just man who walked with God. Even when the world is against you, truth stands alone, and those who carry it must never waver. Noah wasn't just a prophet. He was a relentless caller to truth. He preached day and night, publicly and privately. He tried every approach. He warned them of divine punishment. He appealed to their reason. He begged them for their own salvation. Sometimes the light comes from just one candle, and even one person can make the world listen, if they stand firm. But what did he receive? Mockery, ridicule, arrogance. They laughed, covered their ears, and said, "You are just like us. Why should we follow you?" The Quran says they thrust their fingers in their ears, covered themselves with their garments, and persisted in arrogance. Every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. Noah was not only righteous, but he remained silent, letting his actions speak louder than words. Truth-tellers are rarely welcome, but they are always remembered. Then came a moment that changed everything. God told Noah to build a ship. Not just any ship, a massive ark, in the middle of dry land. No sea in sight, no clouds in the sky, just wood, tools, and faith. And as the hammer hit the wood, the mockery only got louder. "Look at this madman," they said, "building a boat in the desert?" But Noah knew something what they didn't. He had faith in the unseen. A flood was coming. When you follow divine guidance, the world may laugh, but you're building something they can't see. In all three faiths, the ark is central. In Islam, the ark is built under God's direct guidance. In Judaism and Christianity, God gave Noah specific measurements. The Torah and Bible both describe it with 3 decks, a door, and a window, a structure of divine design. Noah was instructed to gather his family, the believers, pairs of every creature, but not everyone in his family would listen. Sometimes those closest to us can still choose the wrong path, but our duty is to do what's right, regardless. Noah's own son refused to board the ark. In the Quran, the moment is deeply emotional. "O my son, come aboard with us and be not with the disbelievers." He replied, "I will take refuge on a mountain to protect me from the water." Noah said, "There is no protector today from the decree of Allah." Then the waves came between them, and he was among the drowned. His son's disbelief broke Noah's heart, and even more, in Islam, his wife was among the disbelievers too. Faith is not inherited by blood, it is chosen by the heart. In Christianity and Judaism, Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, are said to survive and repopulate the earth. The ark became a symbol of salvation for the faithful and destruction for the arrogant. And then, the heavens opened, the earth cracked, water surged from above and below. Noah called out to his son one last time, "My son, come aboard with us. Don't be among the disbelievers." But he didn't listen. And then, a wave rose up and swallowed him. Faith isn't inherited, it's a choice, and each soul stands alone before God. A cataclysmic flood swept across the earth, drowning everything in its path. Everything except the ark. Noah was granted peace and blessings while the wrongdoers were drowned. In all three traditions, the flood was a world reset, a divine cleansing of evil. The ark floated for days, weeks, possibly longer, until it came to rest on Mount Judy or Mount Ararat. As soon as the divine command was given, peace returned to the earth. The roaring floodwaters began to retreat. Slowly the ground re-emerged, soaked, scarred, but alive. Sunlight broke through the clouds, casting golden rays over the fresh, cleansed land. The storm had passed, and with it, the age of disbelief and polytheism was washed away. Sometimes a storm isn't meant to destroy, it's meant to purify. Noah, with a steady hand and a heart full of faith, opened the doors of the ark. Birds soared into the sky, wings wide with freedom. Animals stepped carefully onto solid earth, scattering across the land that now awaited new life. Then came the moment. When the waters receded, Noah and his followers stepped onto dry land, the beginning of a new world. The believers stepped out, survivors of not just a flood, but of a world that had rejected truth. And Noah, this righteous man who had preached for centuries, fell to the ground in prostration, his forehead touching the earth in deep gratitude to his Lord. Gratitude is the soul's response when words aren't enough. The survivors gathered and kindled a fire for the first time since the journey began. Fire, though essential, had been strictly forbidden on the ark. One stray spark could have consumed everything. So throughout the flood, not one hot meal was cooked. They endured in patience and silence. Now finally warmth flickered in the flames. And around that fire, they sat, not in celebration, but in remembrance. They observed a day of fasting, a humble offering of thanks to the one who had guided them through the storm. True faith doesn't just survive the flood, it bows in gratitude once it's over. In the Bible, God then made a covenant, never to flood the earth again, and the rainbow became the sign of that promise. God's punishment is real, but so is his mercy, and with every storm comes a new beginning. In Noah's story isn't just ancient scripture, it's a mirror for our times. A man standing firm against society's sin. A voice of reason in a storm of arrogance. A shipbuilder with no sea in sight, but with certainty in his heart. Across Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, Noah represents strength in faith, endurance in hardship, the courage to stand alone. His life shows us that truth must be spoken, even when no one listens. Obedience to God matters, even when it costs you everything. You don't need a crowd to be right, you just need truth. And truth, like Noah's Ark, always floats. So the next time you feel alone in a world that's moving the wrong way, remember Prophet Noah. He didn't follow the crowd. He built an ark, a story not just of flood and survival, but of faith, focus, and forever lessons. Like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories from the past that still speak to our present.